What's going on there, guys? Good afternoon. This is the Earthmaster here on this Saturday, October 8th, 2022. It is about 12:33 p.m. California time. Latest quake shows a 2.5 over here around the Indonesia area. Not a whole lot of further uptick over here along the Western Pacific. A lot of older movement here along the North American plate as well. Most recent quakes appear to be down along the Kermadec Trench and the down here along the Antarctic and the Pacific plate boundary with that 5.3. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here around the flat scale model Earth, showing not a whole lot happening here. Once again, as we look towards the Western Pacific, got only one earthquake here, 4.8 in the Indonesia area. Of course, the USGS only showing 4.0 and above. Those other earthquakes you've seen on the globe are from the EMSC model. The USGS is reporting 4.9 and a 4.3 kicking up overnight time frame around the New Zealand area and also the Kermadec Trench. So a little bit of adjustment taking place down here towards the southern end of the Pacific plate. Also noted was a 5.7 occurring shortly after this activity in the New Zealand area. So things appear to be ramping up a little bit towards the southern end of the Pacific plate into the Chile area. Most of this movement here from late last night time frame. A couple fours along the Peru-Chile Trench. Over here into the Puerto Rico area. Seeing a little bit of movement as well. Most recent earthquake looks to be a 3.8 in the Mauna Passage area. Also had a 4.1 near the Mauna Seamount, near the Dominican Republic area. Also a little bit of swarming kicking up here around the Puerto Rico Trench, which sits kind of up here about 40-50 miles or so. This earthquake activity confined to a bunch of threes down there at about 35-45 kilometers or so. So kind of watching that area. Into the States, a little bit of movement into the Oklahoma area once again. Got a little swarm of activity. That's a pretty good swarm if you really think about it. Let's go back to 7 days. Take a look at this cluster of earthquake activity happening here in Oklahoma. Northeast of the Kingfisher area. Looks like off of this county road here, in between Lemon Road and looks like some other county road just outside of Dover. 62 earthquakes, and the largest one so far appear to be 3.4. Now, we were looking at this on previous updates, and there's quite a bit of pumping operations out here within this region. It looks like there's some river flowing through here as well. I don't think that's related to the earthquake activity because there's a lot of pumping operations here, literally inches within the swarming area. These squares, let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit more. If I had Google Earth, I could pop it up a little bit more, but I'm not going to bring up this program. But either way, these look like maybe some older pumping operations. I'm not seeing any type of ponds or injection wastewater type operations out there. A lot of times these oil pumping operations will go on for a few months, maybe a year or so, and then they move on to a different location after running dry, so to speak. And that's kind of where it looks like this earthquake swarming activity is occurring. And there's numerous ones, folks. There's quite a few oil pumping operations out here. Take a look at all of these. These are not farmhouses out there in the beautiful state of Oklahoma. But backing out here, it's peppered throughout the region. Look at that. All over the place. And this is just a small portion of Oklahoma where the swarming is occurring. Again, 62 earthquakes. It's very possible we could see something in the 4 range, upper 4 possibly, with all this swarming activity we're seeing out here. So just a heads up, keep your guard up for the Oklahoma area, possibly for some further movement around those oil fields. Let's see, Washington area. We got one earthquake outside of Yakima, 2.2 coming in overnight time frame. Not a whole lot of newer activity throughout the Pacific Northwest. Some movement down into Northern California, it looks like, mostly around the geysers area. That's down south here, south of Clear Lake, with the Calpine hydrothermal operations ongoing there. This earthquake out here off the coast of Northern California coming in yesterday afternoon time frame at about 20 kilometers deep for that 2.1, down into the subduction zone of the Cascadia megathrust area. Not a whole lot happening central portion of California. Down in southern Cal, getting well, we had a little bit of swarming kicking up here around this 3-pointer that came in around the Borrego Springs area. I did see a 3.5, and looks like there was some other aftershock sequences overnight with the latest earthquake activity. It looks like a little 0.8 away from the swarm. So had that 3-pointer kick up, a little bit of microquake activity, and then it continued. It just stopped overnight time frame. So that's common. We do see those swarms kick up for a little bit, adjust following a main quake, if you want to call that a main quake, and then just completely stop. And that was off of the Elsinore fault system, the area down to the south here. There's a couple different portions of it. Over here around the Salton Sea, got one earthquake here near Bombay Beach. Looks like that one coming in late afternoon time frame. A couple other ones here as well overnight. No major swarms to report around the San Andreas Fault though for now. Looking at the Alaska area, a little spotty today. Got one earthquake there in the Cook Inlet, a 2.8. Some older movement yesterday around the Aleutian Trench. The Big Island of Hawaii, still seeing some activity out here around Mauna Loa. In fact, the USGS Volcano's site is now doing daily updates on Mauna Loa. It was only weekly, but due to the heightened unrest and earthquake activity, they are doing now daily updates from the in regards to Mauna Loa. Let me see if we got the latest update out here now. Let me just refresh this and double check. 8, is that right now? I believe it is. Let me check out the UTC time, which is 1935. So about an hour ago, they put out this latest update. 8:22 Hawaiian time out there. So yeah, a daily update. Mauna Loa is not erupting, and there are no signs of an imminent eruption at this time. However, Mauna Loa continues to be in a state of heightened unrest, as indicated by increased earthquake activity. And we'll check out that seismograph station here in just a short minute. Inflation of the summit is continuing as well. The current unrest is most likely being driven by renewed input of magma 2 to 5 miles below the surface, below the summit. So it's kind of an ongoing thing. Last time Mauna Loa erupted was back in the 80s, right? I believe it was 1984. So there's it's pretty active. It's one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. And it's been quiet for, 38 years now, I believe, was the last eruption here at Mauna Loa Volcano. Kilauea to the northeast, yeah, it's still continuing to erupt and confined to the lava lake area. But, man, it's been a little while since Mauna Loa has shown any major unrest. So we got to keep an eye on this very closely. The latest activity here on the map, and anyone can check out this map here. It's publicly accessible. Public domain. This is activity around Mauna Loa. There's a couple different GPS stations. Still currently sits as a yellow. Hasn't been upgraded yet. Seismograph stations right here. We can go up here to the summit and check out activity over the past 12 hours, 8 hours, whatever you want to look at. The activity is here, and it's still very active. But some of this activity that we're seeing listed up here on the map is coming from Pahala area down south here, which only sits about, maybe 10-15 miles from the summit area, that seismograph station up there at Mauna Loa. So sometimes it's hard to decipher what's local and what's not far as seismic activity goes, because it's so close. They're so close together. So it looks like the last earthquake they have listed up here on the map is a 1.8 at 1812 UTC time. So 1812 is going to be right about here. 1812, right about here. So notice, you would think though, looking at this map, that hey, these earthquakes are probably bigger than these other ones here. It looks that way, right? But I'm thinking these earthquakes are just the distant ones towards Pahala, and these two are very localized. This was a 1.8. And this here is a 2. I believe that's a 2.1 at 1638 UTC time. 1638 UTC time would put that right there. So I think the local ones here at Mauna Loa are going to be a little bit more prominent looking. But then again, we can have smaller earthquakes and they may look like they're further away. So it's kind of hard to tell, folks, unless we compare two different seismograph stations, one at Mauna Loa and one at down at Pahala. The Pahala region. So If I see this thing start getting more active than what it is, then we'll start doing the comparison and kind of separate the local earthquakes from the distant earthquakes there at Pahala. But either way, it's active. Definitely kicking up there at the Mauna Loa area. And GPS stations here are also publicly accessible. There's a couple different cool sites I like to use. This one here is one of my favorites because, man, you want to look at GPS ground movements? Check it out. They're all over the place. Very useful tool in determining potential inflation of volcanoes, and also plates in general. Plate tectonics show, movement, uplift, and horizontal displacement. Very good tool to look at certain things here. So here's a station right at the summit on Mauna Loa. This down here is the vertical uplift in millimeters, and we've had quite a bit of uplift since about, well, we kind of leveled out here around 2014. It seems like right around 2014-15, we took a steep up climb in the vertical displacement, showing obviously inflation of magma below. And it's like that on all of these stations here at Mauna Loa, including the northwestern portion of the summit area. Look at that, kind of leveled out here. Then once again, 2015 took a major upturn. And that's something we got to watch pretty closely, and this is probably going to be a very useful tool in determining an impending eruption. Here's another one, 2022. Everything's showing signs of it building up potentially for the next eruption, which I think is pretty soon. We've been seeing a lot of earthquake activity, not only at the summit areas. Let me show you guys real quick. Back out of here and go the last 30 days of movement. So this is Pahala down here. This is a very common swarm. It's been happening and being monitored since the 60s, early 60s or so. There's a wealth of info on that. Check out Pahala earthquake swarm continuous activity on any search engine. And you got to remember the hot spot here, the Pacific plate moving over the hot spot. So this is always, seems to be always swarming down there. But Mauna Loa not. So this is why the USGS volcanoes and other scientists and geologists are kind of watching and monitoring the Mauna Loa area pretty closely. We got 422 earthquakes within the last 30 days of all magnitudes. And most of them have been confined here to the summit, very shallow. But at the same time, we've been seeing some earthquake activity here to the west here that is showing some signs of deeper movement right where the magma would be. 3.0, or at least coming up. 3.0, right around the magma level, 3.7 kilometers down there. A lot of other deep earthquakes in that mix as well. So I think this thing's getting charged up. When it's going to happen, I don't have a crystal ball, but we can look at these little indicators and possibly see, potentially forecast when that may happen here. So we're watching it pretty closely. Mauna Loa on the Big Island could potentially get very active soon. Okay, let's see what else we got. I think that was about it for earthquake activity. Nothing going on for the west, further west, I should say, throughout the Mediterranean regions. Let's check out Earthquakes Canada up to the north here of us. And there's that earthquake here from a few days ago up in the Yukon Territories at 2.9. Far as recent activity goes, they normally don't show stuff here on the weekend for some reason. And a lot of this activity off the coast of the BC region is all older movement. The latest quake listed on the map is a 2.2 up in Vermont, and I believe the USGS issued that as well when that earthquake struck, which was, looks like it was yesterday sometime. Let's see what else we got. Yellowstone National Park, still swarming, still having a little earthquake swarm there. Comes and goes. Sometimes we have a couple hours of quiet time, and then it kicks back up again. So it's been an ongoing thing here at Yellowstone for about 5 weeks now. So just kind of watching that as well. Solarham.com website. .net, I should say. They got .com. I don't know where I seen it at, but I did see it there for a second. Showing some activity stretching across the disk of the sun, right? A massive sunspot, 3112, 3116. All kind of just directly facing Earth, right? It's on stage, but is the key word. It doesn't look like it's getting the items and the necessary development in order to get a large X-flare, or even the X-flare in general. Things are looking like they're deteriorating a little bit. There's a new sunspot over here that is named 3119. That is, I believe, a newer sunspot. 3120 is up here as well. Looks like there's a little new sunspot. So we can have all these massive, giant sunspots, and if they're not set up properly for the magnetic fields that they harbor, then we won't see anything. We don't get that special spark. And that's kind of what's taken place here. We've seen that a time or two so far in this solar cycle. Right now, 90% chance of a C flare, 50% chance for an M flare, and only a 10% chance for an X flare. So we will see how this plays out. I don't think we're going to see anything drastic, but always we'll keep an eye on it with those few sunspots that are now currently facing Earth. Over the last 24 hours shows just very minimal solar X flare activity, I should say. We're in the C flare category, but nothing in the M flare recently. A little bitty one, it looks like a day and a half ago. But things are just kind of as is for now. No major coronal hole facing us. No major CME has been blasted towards the Earth. Expecting calm conditions here over the next few days at least. KP index currently around the 3 level. Current real-time solar wind shows somewhat of a stable magnetic field there. BT-BZ component. Not a whole lot of density. Speeds down there around 550 or so. So not looking at any major solar weather activity happening right now, folks. Kind of quiet on that aspect. All right, let's see here. Earthquake 3D globe here. This shows the EMSC data. A couple areas to watch, I think, here. We're getting a pretty good uptick in movement down here along the Kermadec Trench. As that happens, and these are pretty shallow earthquakes here, including down here at the 5.3. That's in the divergent boundary, it looks like. Separation of the seafloor down there in the Pacific and the Antarctic plate area. A lot of movement here taking place, it seems like, at the surface levels that could trigger potentially not only areas up here around Fiji, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea area with this movement. We always look at a northwestward movement here in this area as far as pressure gradients go, and these areas are kind of lacking right now in that seismic gap zone. So watch these areas along the western Pacific pretty closely. And other than that, these earthquakes up here, North America, look pretty old. They're in the ring, or in the red color rings. Just have to see how this plays out today, but I think those areas are worthy of watching. All right, guys, welcome to the new members as well. Tonight, we're going to give a shout out to all the members and do a little announcement about what we're doing as far as the drawing giveaway coming up here in a week or so for the members only. So we'll catch you guys back here tonight. Let's see what time. Not for certain. Probably around 7 or 8 o'clock West Coast time. So 9 or 10 Central time there. We'll definitely be doing an update though, unless something major happens. So catch you guys a little bit later on tonight. Have a good one, folks. Enjoy your Saturday. Peace out.